Netflix and friends for our final thing, a final thing of a film that is one of these weird things that has been happening a lot more, and it's one of the reasons why we even started doing this podcast, because the line is getting blurred between Netflix and cinema. Which is
Yeah.
what, because when on my search for a movie to watch in the cinemas this week, I was started looking a bit further afield because the cinema is about 10 minutes from my house. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll just go 10 minutes. But I said, okay, let me try and find something else and go a bit further. Go 30 minutes from my house, and there's a cinema that is showing this film on the big screen.
Okay.
And I was like, I thought this was a Sky Cinema thing because it's on Sky at home, but it's actually in some cinemas.
Oh,
It doesn't
wow.
seem it doesn't seem
Really?
like yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a wide release. It's in some cinemas. It's mostly on Sky Cinema, but it's in some cinemas. So the Empire Cinema in Great Park in Birmingham, I don't know what you're doing, but they have this film up. They have this film on the big screen. But this is Gunpowder Milkshake, a
Gunpowder
film.
Milkshake.
Yeah, a film that a friend of mine, Simon Edward Spartan, who is currently in the States, because he knows about films, he knows we do this podcast. He texted me about this probably about 2 months ago, saying this is a really, really good watch. I'd heard the title for a couple of months, but I hadn't seen the film. The film has only just it's been out in the States. It's only just made it to the UK. And Sean, would you like to fire? Okay, fire away. Tell us.
Far away. Okay,
Tell us what Gunpowder Milkshake's about.
yeah, okay. So basically, it's a story. It starts off in a diner with a mum and a daughter. The mum's a bit of an assassin. She kills somebody. She has to hide, and she sort of just disappears from this girl's life. This girl grows up to become. She sort of becomes an assassin herself. So she follows in her mum's footsteps, basically, and she's got to do a hit, and it goes slightly wrong. So, and of course, the people that she was supposed to be doing the hit for decide to get angry with her, and they obviously send people to destroy. Oh, by the way, yeah, there's this little girl that tags along as well. There's a little girl involved that tags along, which I thought she was great. But anyway, so that's a basic story. So you basically got a John Wick story with like assassin gone wrong, and a lot of people chasing, a lot of people going after her, and she's pretty good, you know. In fact, in this film, there's a lot of tones of, like, I would say it's a cross between probably Kill Bill and John Wick sort of thing. You know, I know I mentioned John Wick before, but
Yeah.
and some of the fight scenes in it, certainly one in a bowling alley, totally reminded me of the Crazy Eight scene in the Kill Bill film.
Yeah.
And there's a few other references that I picked up which I thought, oh yeah, this was quite good. And the action sequences, I mean, I could if I'd have had my picky head on, I could have probably found a few things, but on the whole, I just enjoyed this, and I went with the ride, and I thought it was great. Oh yeah, and there's these like the librarians.
Librarians.
She got these three aunties, which are like librarians, and they're obviously the library.
Yeah,
Sharon,
essentially,
you would love, Sharon. You would love to go in there. Let's just put it this way. I don't know if you would, but you probably would like to have seen their library. You would.
The library is awesome.
The
set design for the library is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and when you have the librarians, I know that they are played by Michelle Yeoh, Cara Guccino, and Angela Bassett. You know, yes, you know that these ain't your normal librarians. Let me put it that way.
Let's put it that way. Yeah, they're pretty handy.
Okay, so yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of things that you're saying is, I think John Wick has breathed some life into this sort of like single assassin who's the best in the world, going on a mission and blah blah blah. And ever since John Wick came out and became such a hit, there are films that you can. You know how the other week we were talking about how you had Die Hard, and after Die Hard was made, you had films like Toy Story, which is Die Hard in a school, and so there's all these sort of like, you know, splinters off from John Wick that have come on. I think Gunpowder Milkshake is one. Weirdly enough, the day before I saw Gunpowder Milkshake, I saw a film on Netflix called Kate, just called Kate, which it's like the people were in the same room when they came up with the ideas for these two films, because it's a similar thing. This woman is an assassin. She's the best in the world, all that kind of stuff. She ends up, like, you know, with a kid tagging along with her while she's trying to complete her mission. And she has some sort of weird connection to what happened with the kid's parent, because that kid is an orphan and she has something to do with that. Almost like the same thing. Only that. Yeah, and I was kind of like, oh, there is definitely something in the water with this. But what you were saying about Gunpowder Milkshake is that I agree with you that after a while, it's very soon. This film tells you, don't take us seriously.
Yeah.
Like not long after you start watching it, this film says we're not to be taken seriously here.
And there's some hilarious moments in it. The thing is in the doctor's place.
Oh yeah.
I was still like, oh yeah, okay, let's go. Literally in that. I was like, oh, that was really,
okay. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that this film has an action sequence in which somebody has their arms paralyzed and has to take out 3 assassins that come at them.
Yeah, but to me, it's the assassins as well, which like especially the one that's like got the bad leg.
The one in the wheelchair,
yeah. That was one of them, yeah. So that, I mean, and it didn't take itself too seriously. It was really, really good fun to watch. It was a really good watch. I thought the acting was terrific, and as I say, some of the foibles didn't bother me at all. I just went with it and really, really enjoyed it.
Shaun, did you have any idea of where this film is set? Or when?
No, I haven't really thought about that. I hadn't really thought about that. So I would say somewhere around about, I don't know, Los Angeles or somewhere, or Chicago.
Well, because I'm looking at some of the architecture in this film is like a mishmash. Like, the library itself. The library looks like an old European city.
Yeah,
it looks like it's in Budapest or something like that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
and the fact that everybody in this film, nobody uses a smartphone. They use flip phones. They use things that look like the Nokia 3210. And I'm like, they have this baby. And I'm like, when is this film set?
I know. You're right. It wasn't. That's why I said Los Angeles, Chicago, because like the bowling alley remind me of like maybe a Los Angeles location. And like you say, some of the architecture was like Chicago or somewhere like that. So that's an interesting. Yeah. I mean, I've no idea. It's just.
Yeah, it's not the point, but it almost kept, and the diner looks like it's set in the middle of the desert in Nevada or something like that.
Yeah.
It is all over. It is a bit all over the shop. The action sequences that are quite good, but it is essentially just an action movie. It's a female led, heavily female led,
heavily female led. Really, totally. In fact, isn't it? When you think about it,
it is totally female, and it's brilliant because you have an action sequence, right? You have this whole big climatic battle that has Karen Gillan, Lena Headey, Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett, Cara Guccino taking on a whole bunch of men who are
Russians, big Russian, like the whole Russian mafia army has come.
Well, yeah. There were some of
a busload of them, isn't it? I think they actually turn up in a coach.
They actually do. They actually literally turn up in a bus.
In a big coach. Yeah.
There's literally a busload.
That was quite funny.
A busload. And it's kind of weird though, because it's although I'll tell you one, right? The sort of second in command in the film.
Wait, the guy. What, the Russian second?
Yeah. I'm not even sure that they are Russian because, like, the main guy, he has an American accent. The one who's talking about his daughters and talking about, I've always considered myself a feminist and all that. But there's this guy who shows up with a toothpick in his mouth and he has like this hair that Sharon, you know how we were complaining about Frank Grillo's hair last week?
Yes.
We found one that's topped it.
Yeah, definitely. It was like an ant. Yeah.
Oh my god, the guy showed up, and even the first time you see him is in silhouette, and my first thought was, I don't know much about white hair, but dude, wash your hair.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was
the second he showed up, you wanted him to. Die.
It just seemed like Russians. No, you're right, Tosin. They didn't even really speak in a Russian accent, but you assume that most of those hoodlums, whenever you see them in every job, they always seem to be Russians.
Yeah.
So
it's a bit of a Okay, but anyway, Shaun. Shaun, but anyway, okay, let's go on to stars. What do you reckon?
Well, I did thoroughly enjoy this film, so I'm going to have to say that it was a 4-star one for me. I really did enjoy it.
All right, 4-star for that. I thought that it ran out of steam towards the end.
Fair enough.
I thought it ran out of steam towards the end. I thought that there were a couple of things that, as much as I enjoyed some of the things, there were a couple of things where I was like, well, it's not really setting itself apart from a whole bunch of things. I personally would give it a 3, but
fair enough. No, that's fair comment. I mean, don't normally laugh at films like that, but as I say, that scene, and I still got a picture of it in my head now, that where they're in the doctor's thing, and the bloke with the gun that's hobbling. They just made me laugh. It just made me. It really, really tickled me. That did.
I think the film does do a lot of. It has a fine line in. It does a fine line in coming up with weird situations. Like essentially, when they're in the doctor's office, they have this bunch of assassins who are trying to kill somebody, but they are all on laughing gas.
Incompetent. Yeah.
They're all on laughing gas, so it's kind of like there's a whole bunch of things. There's all these random things that they do in the film that are quite good. Oh, and I reckon Shaun. I know you hate car chases, and I reckon that in this film they've managed to do a car chase that you can get behind.
Yeah, I could probably. I could probably forgive this car chase.
Yeah,
no, I know. Yeah.
There is a bit of there's an inventive car chase in it. There's an inventive car chase in it that I when I was watching I was going, okay, cool, yeah, that's good, that's different. But yeah, so anyway, that is it for our reviews this week. Would you guys like to guess which has come out ahead, Netflix or cinema this week?